everybody. As you know, I'm always trying to be fashion forward, so I'm pretty sure this is a trend. If it's not, it definitely will be soon, so keep an eye out for this on the cover of Vogue. Hi. I don't get a lot of compliments on my sunglasses these days because they're, well, what's a loving way to say it? I don't know. They're kind of dorky, right? But I really love them, and I just don't care. I used to wear these, the old brick sunglasses that you see the old grannies wearing, you know, that you purchase at the pharmacy at CVS or whatever, that are like $5. Those are the boys that I want on my face, because I don't like switching back and forth between, you know, prescription sunglasses and my regular glasses, and thought, like, what's the solution here? And the solution is to look like an octogenarian walking down the street and just not caring what people think about you. That's the solution. So these ones are they're a step up from the brick, actually. The old CVS version. Got these on Amazon, and you can't see because of the filter, but they're blue. So I feel like a real cool guy, especially when when the lid is flipped up like this. So didn't expect to talk about my glasses today, but that's where we're at, guys. Hi. Haven't seen spiders a lot lately. Just saw one before I hit record on this video here. That's my symbol from the universe to start being creative. And so that's what I've been doing, making these videos. Been diving deep into the AI art scene, by the way. So if you haven't followed my art account yet here on Instagram, follow the link art account, guys. What else do I want to talk about? Synchronicities. Lots of synchronicities lately. I feel like it used to be, you know, once a week or twice a week. Oh, there's a 111. Oh, there's my number again. And now it's just like this constant barrage. It's like a fire hose being sprayed directly at my face from 2 inches away with these synchronicities, guys. Super intense. It's almost blasting the flesh off my skull. That's how powerful it is. And I'm not the only one. I know that you guys are seeing them as well because you tell me. And my sister just texted me a synchronicity as well. And her and I had a long chat about it. And it's getting weird. I don't know if it's just like that these synchronicities have always been there and I'm just aware of it now and sort of hyper aware of it and seeing them everywhere. Are you asking what are synchronicities? The synchronicities are like seeing 111 or 369, that, you know, these numbers that you see everywhere over and over and over again. Or like, you know, I'll be thinking about a tiger, and then all of a sudden, for the next week, I'm just seeing tigers everywhere, you know, just tigers on my Instagram randomly. And people are mentioning tigers at the grocery store randomly, or I'll see it in an advertisement, or it's just like, I don't know if it's like, you know, when you buy a new car, and then you start seeing that car everywhere, you know? Like before you didn't notice that make and model, but now you bought your car and now you're seeing it everywhere because you're driving it. Like, I wonder what percentage of it is that versus, because sometimes, guys, I'll play with it. That's how I roll, is it is actually sunny, so I'm going to like lock these into place. That's much better. My little peeps were getting a little strained. My poor sensitive blue peeps. Sometimes I'll play with the universe, right? And I'll just see, like, how does this work? Or I believe we're in a simulation or something. I don't believe that we're in a simulation. I think there's a very high likelihood that we are in a simulation. So if that's the case, I like to just play with it and see, like, well, okay, if I were in a simulation, what would happen if I started like thinking of something and seeing if it'll pop up into my reality? That sort of weird shit, right? So I go on these long walks, right? And so it gives me lots of opportunity to play these games with the universe. So I'll think of just something random. The first thing that pops into my head, ice cube. That just popped into my head, right? So then all day long, I'll try to like think about and concentrate on ice cubes. And it's not every time, right? It's not 100%, but I don't know, 75, 80% of the time when I do this, it works. And I'll be walking along and there'll be a a delivery truck with ice cubes on the side of it, or, an advertisement with Coca-Cola and a bunch of ice cubes, or somebody will mention ice cubes in their drink, or ice cube the wrapper, or the universe doesn't always do it exactly how I picture it. Like I think of an ice cube for my beverage, but oftentimes I'll start seeing the wrapper ice cube everywhere, just to keep this analogy going. So it's a lesson in manifestation for me. I believe that we can manifest things into our own reality just by thinking about it and with our thoughts and our emotions. And I think that we have the ability to manipulate this reality. And that's what this conversation is about, is like, am I manipulating reality when I'm thinking about an ice cube? Is that happening because I'm thinking about it? And, all of the ancient philosophy, all of the ancient knowledge from just all of the civilizations, they all talk about how powerful our minds are, right? And I like playing with that because I think some of these people who really dug deep and really dove all in, like Plato or Socrates or some of these mystery cults, from ancient times, or these people who claim to have, the knowledge, the truth from the universe, that had been to the other side and come back, and that sort of a thing makes me question all of it, right? And I played with these things, and I often get results. That's why we're talking about it. If it was just like this weird woo-woo, like, that'd be weird if you just think about it and it happens, but like, I'm keeping track. And because I see that perhaps I do play a role in my reality in some way, shape, or form, my ego wants me to claim it all and say, hey guys, I'm manifesting my reality. I'm magical. I'm cool. I'm better than you. None of that. I fully recognize that there's divinity involved here, that there's fate involved here, there's destiny involved here. I think that perhaps we don't have as much free will as we think we do on some level. There's something is amiss. Something is awry here. We're some sort of a game that we're involved in here. And I love a good puzzle. Love a good challenge. That's how I view life now. I don't take life as seriously as I used to. I try not to, at least, right? When these calamities happen to me, or these quote-unquote bad things happen to me, or things that really challenge me, I don't view them as bad anymore. I just view them as part of the game, and how am I going to respond to it? The old version of me would respond to these things and get real stressed out, real worried, real fearful, etc. And I'm learning to just let that go. It's a daily practice, right, guys? I'm not at the top of the mountain here. Like, it's something that I constantly have to work at. But I enjoy the game. I love the thrill of the game, to be honest with you. So I question these synchronicities and how I can use them and utilize them in my life. Is it perhaps that we are psychic beings? I believe that's true. How many times have I been thinking about somebody and they will call me or text me 10 minutes later? It's just like, okay, well, that was strange. Haven't talked to that person in 2 years, and I think about them intently, and they call me. That's interesting. And if that happened occasionally, I could brush it off easily. I could explain it away or call it a coincidence or whatever. But guys, this is happening on a daily basis. And I know it is for many of you as well. And so I question that. What does that mean? How can I use this to my benefit? Right? Am I actually shaping my reality, or am I just psychic and predicting that I'm going to see an ice cube on a truck? Right? Perhaps it's just psychic abilities kicking in and not manifestation. I don't know. Perhaps this simulation that we're in, or this life that we're in, or whatever you want to call it, reincarnation, right? Perhaps we've lived this life, this reincarnation, multiple times. Perhaps we're living in a memory, right? Perhaps I was never actually Matt Owens, and my spirit wanted to dive into the Matt Owens avatar and live Matt Owens' life and just see, like, what's that like? What's that about? Right? Instead of thinking that I am Matt Owens and wrapping myself up into that identity, I've learned to let that go over the last several years and just sort of embrace this mystical experience that I'm having, this divine experience that I'm having. I'm not Matt Owens. I'm divinity playing the part of Matt Owens. Right? So when you look at these sunglasses, they're straight from God, guys. The good Lord above chose these sunglasses, and so they are perfect. When I start to beat myself up or get a little too hard on myself or start to feel guilty or think like I'm not doing things quick enough, I'm on the wrong path. I don't have those conversations with myself anymore because I have to remind myself quickly, nope, da, 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 da. I'm divinity. I'm having an experience, and I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm going to have a blast. Even if that means my world is falling apart, even if that means I'm in the middle of a shitstorm, I'm practicing. Oh, this is hitting with somebody. I feel it. It's about stopping for a minute, pausing and smiling and saying, wow, this is intense. Right? This is fucking intense. But I believe I signed up for this. I believe my spirit signed up for this. My soul, on some level, no matter what is happening to the human Matt Owens, my soul is having a blast. And just going like, please serve me, I have another. And so when I hit the bumps in my life, that's what I remind myself of, is like, my soul loves the bumps. Okay? Loves the bumps. So how can I learn to accept that as well? That's what this journey has been about for me in large part, is learning to be happy on the bumps, right? Super fucking hard. Takes a lot of fucking practice and a lot of little baby steps to get there. And just daily practice, right? Because the human wants to freak out. The human wants to have a pity party. The human, when I say human, I mean the ego, the flesh, like you understand. Matt Owens is a real delicate flower. That's all right. That's all right, big guy. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. Well, this is a fun conversation. Welcome. I've been playing with balance a lot lately, and I think that's what I want to talk about. I just had a friend reach out to me and just ask a couple questions, like I had earlier mentioned about intermittent fasting. And she just asked me a few questions, and I said, well, I'll answer them, and I did briefly, but I said I'm going to make a video about it. I think she watches some of these videos, so perhaps the good Lord will lead her to watch this video today, because this is for you. I had a lot of food issues about 5 years ago, and I know that many of you have spoken to me about that as well, having, if you look it up online, it's labeled as leaky gut, perhaps, but at the end of the day, I went to, 25 different doctors. Nobody knew what the hell was going on with me. My body was just sort of rejecting all of these foods that I had previously enjoyed to excess, right? For those of you that don't know me, I used to be quite large. I used to be a big boy, almost 300 pounds at my heaviest. And that was the old me. I barely remember that guy, to be honest with you, both inside and out. But because of these intestinal issues, whatever they were, I lost a lot of weight. And everybody was like, hey, good for you, losing all the weight, you're looking great. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. But little did they know that it's because I literally wasn't eating. I was starving myself. It was in a very unhealthy way because I couldn't eat any food. My body was just totally rejecting it with inflammation and intense pain, etc. And so I played this game of figuring out, like, going on these food elimination diets where I don't eat anything for a couple of days and then slowly incorporate food to see what does and does not affect me and my intestines, etc. So that was a real fun journey for those of you that have done that. But it did open my eyes as to what my body likes and doesn't like. And before that, everything happens for a reason, right? So I can bitch and moan about how awful and difficult it was. And yes, it was a challenge. But I'm thankful ultimately now, in retrospect, and learning to be thankful for the shitstorm when I'm in it, because it was ultimately helpful to me. It helped to teach me how to listen to my body, which I had never done before in my life, right? My body had tried to talk to me, but every time my body would say, hey, we're full, don't put any more food in us, I would then proceed to drink, a fifth of whiskey and go to get some Taco Bell. I wouldn't drive drunk is what I'm insinuating there, but like I would eat unhealthy. Let's step that back a few there so I don't get some calls from my family that are concerned about me drinking a fifth of whiskey. And you're a heavy eater. I got interrupted there, so I'm curious where we'll pick up. But previous versions of myself had very addictive tendencies, right? So I've always struggled with these sorts of things. And recently I've learned, as just part of my awakening, as part of just learning to love myself, as learning to accept things about myself, is finding balance, right? I don't think it's balanced to stop eating carbs forever, to stop eating sugar forever. And I like finding balance in that. So for me, I tried many different things. I tried doing like a sober October type of a situation. And I went sober for 2 months, just sober on many things, right? Social media, sugar, smoking weed, all of that stuff. And just to show myself that I could do it, right? But ultimately, it didn't feel balanced because I like smoking weed. I like eating sugar. I enjoy these things, but I just haven't learned control yet. I haven't learned balance yet. So that's what this is. It's not beating myself up every time I go into one of these episodes of binging or whatever. So it's about finding balance. So I tried that out. I tried taking a month or two off, putting a pause on things, and a month or 2 months feels too long for me. It feels daunting. Like, oh boy, here we go. Hunker down. Like, buckle up. This is gonna be a bumpy ride for the next month. Like, that's scary to me, and I don't like that. So, a more balanced approach for me to slow down on some things that my body are telling me to slow down on. I'll take a day off. Maybe I'll say, like, you know what, I'm gonna take a few days off or a week off. That seems reasonable to me. Just to give my body a break, right? Like yesterday, for example, my body's been telling me that I'm smoking too much weed. And so yesterday, I didn't smoke at all. And I felt fantastic. Now before, a few months ago, before I started practicing, that would have scared the hell out of me. What do you mean I have to stop smoking? How long? A day? A week? A few days? But then when can I start again? Like it was a fearful thing. So I just had to practice and calm myself down and say, look, bud, you can do this. You know that you can do this. We've done it before. Like, it's nothing to be scared about. And it's one of those things, just like going to the gym, where it sort of sucks going to the gym and it kind of sucks doing the exercises, right? But when you're done, you feel great. And you know that you'll feel great, but it's about convincing yourself to just shut the fuck up and go to the gym, right? And so that's what I'm talking about, is like telling the voice in my head, who I call Hal. I just tell Hal, dude, take a break, okay? Like, put a little duct tape over that mouth, have a breather. You've been yakking at me for a while. We're going to take a break. And then I feel great afterwards, whether it's a day or a week or a month or whatever. And it's about listening to your body, because you know when your body's telling you to take a break. But because of old programming or fears or whatever, you don't listen to that voice, right? And I'm speaking for myself here too, right? Definitely, overate. And I say overate, oversmoked, overdrank, but according to who? Comparing to what? Like, what does that even mean, right? We get into these thoughts and we tell ourselves these stories that we're doing things more than other people, or we're worse than those people, or we compare ourselves to our family or our spouse or whatever. It gets real ugly, right? That's a slippery slope. So I don't play that game anymore. I don't compare myself to anybody else anymore. I used to say, my current thing where I'm trying to practice getting out of it, the habit, is saying that I overthink. Overthink according to who? Compared to what? Overthinking, like, what does that mean? I'm just thinking. I'm a person that likes to think a lot. Now, when there's worry and stress involved, okay, you can call that overthinking. I just call that fear. I'm just scared. I just put it in the fear pile over here and I take it out. Then I just go back to thinking again. Right? So now I can think about what the government is doing without fear. Because I'm just thinking about it intellectually. I'm just like, well, that's interesting that they're doing that, or that's happening, or I wonder what'll happen if it goes down this road, etc. Right? Separating the fear. The wheat from the chaff situation, right? So you have to find out what works for you, because what I'm talking about might not work for you. For those of you that are interested in intermittent fasting, if you feel led to do it, or if you're curious about it, then this message is for you. Hi, welcome. You were meant to hear this today. Take a break. You can do it. I know it seems difficult or daunting, but just give it a whirl. Try it out and you'll love it. So lately what I'm doing with food that's working really well for me, first I tried skipping food all day, where I would do every other day, one day from sunrise to sunset, or whatever works for you. I wouldn't eat anything. And then the next day, I would just eat whatever I want with no guilt, try to be balanced, right? But don't go nuts. But if you do go nuts, that's fine, because tomorrow we're not eating again. And it's just this pattern that worked for me. And it worked for a while, and then until it didn't, right? And that's okay. Like for me, I beat myself up when I fail at something, but it's not a failure. It just doesn't work for you. Yeah, but all these other people do it successfully and I'm not doing it successfully enough, blah, blah, blah. That's a story. Ignore that. Throw it out the window. Okay? Didn't work for you. Try something else, right? Find what works for you. And you'll know when it works for you because it'll feel great. You'll be like, oh shit, that was hard, but so what I'm currently doing is I'm eating only between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. And then from 5 p.m. overnight to 9 a.m., I fast. And that seems totally reasonable for me. And again, scary when I first tried it. But then when I tried it, I was like, shit, I feel good. It feels good to wait, to not just cram food down your throat, 20 minutes after you wake up, or to chug a bunch of coffee right after you wake up, because that's what I was doing. But my body was saying, give me a break, give me a break. And so that's my way of giving it a break. And it just gives me a little breather in the morning to just sort of let the morning develop without caffeine. I know about caffeine, I get it, but let's be mindful about it, right? Instead of unconsciously chugging or unconsciously eating, let's just mindfully do this until 9 a.m. And then you can put the feeding trough on and go nuts, right? And then at 5 p.m., cutting off really works for me. Because the whole thing is you just have to put 16 hours between your last meal of the evening and your next meal in the morning. So whatever time frame works for you is what you need to do. But that way I'm not digesting my food while I'm trying to sleep, right? Because I used to eat later in the day, in the evening, like at 7 p.m. or whatever. And then, I try to go to bed at 9 and my body is like, what the fuck? We're not going to bed, pal, because we're busy digesting all this food you just swallowed. So when I do the cutoff at 5 p.m., I feel like I go to bed much better. And then the next morning, I wake up much more restful and clear-headed and in a better mood, to be honest with you. When I eat later in the evening and then go to bed and I'm digesting all night long, I wake up in a really shitty mood oftentimes, or just groggy and dragging. And the reason is because my body was working overtime. So that's what works for me, and it is lately. And tomorrow that could totally change. And I'm like, well, let's just try something else and shift gears a little bit. I'm just always willing to shift gears on these sorts of things. So, I think that's about all I got to talk about on that. So, check out my AI account on Instagram, and I got the podcast going, A Cult of Misfits, on Spotify. So check that out as well. And, stay tuned for more videos. Love you, and transmission.